Hello from the model room. Had a couple of hours so far in here today. Again, not much sort of progressing, but more sort of forward thinking, more planning, a little bit of tidying up. As you probably noticed off the last few videos, this middle area was a bit of a mess where all the working things had been dumped or the things that weren't being used. So I've been clearing that out, sorting into little pots and boxes and that, so that this area now, which I'll show you in a bit, is clear, ready for the next sort of plan of action. So what I've decided to do is, rather than sort of finish in sections, like, because I was going to work on Levisham, I've decided to get the basis in place for what's going to happen in the rest of this sort of middle area, and then I can slowly try and complete together then, is the plan. So that otherwise I'm conscious what happened with Diddle Squat into Levisham, it might be everything stays a little bit flat as it goes along. So I want to try and put the groundwork in for the height that I want to get here now, so that then I can work Levisham into it more seamlessly than sort of Levisham's done and then, oh, how am I going to do that? So, but also before I go any further, I just want to say a massive thank you to you all. Had so much response and comments to the glue adhesive question. Loads of great advice and tips as ever, so really appreciate you all taking the time on that. Hopefully I've answered all the comments. Actually, I think there is still some I noticed today, because I don't always go on every day to have a look, that I do need to respond to, so bear with me. I will respond to everybody, but I just want to say thank you for taking the time to share your experience. Oh, and also, I keep telling my Insta guys this, 27th to the 29th of January, the Great Central Railway Winter Gala. That's I'll be based at Loughborough for that. Obviously it runs Corn down to Leicester North. So yeah, not next weekend, the weekend after, so nothing's going to be happening in here that weekend because we'll be busy chasing the real thing. So should be a good weekend. I believe lots of interest, lots of people going, so if you fancy lots of steam trains, beer tent, barbecue, that's where you need to be. So yeah, but next weekend I will have some more time in here too, so I'm really trying today and in particularly more for next weekend to have a good go in here, get some more sort of more the planning work in place, so then I know what I still need to buy or kind of work on a little bit. I was toying with the idea, I've seen it before, it's sort of, you know, if I've been at TMC or Beckhole or even in the NYMR Grow Much Shed shop, they've always got either the Goatland Hotel or the petrol station. So I was trying to think, this area here, like this middle loop part, could I work the hotel or the petrol station into there? I did see them again when I was in the Grimy Times in Warrington last weekend. They got both, so it got me thinking again, thinking, do I, don't I? I think I've come to the conclusion of no, stick with no, mainly because, I mean, none of it's to scale, obviously. I just haven't got the room or the space to be doing what I'm doing to scale. But so I was thinking, do I touch on it, don't I touch on it? And I'm actually thinking I'm going to stick to behind Goatland here. My idea is to bring the height up in the middle and drop it down for the tracks by the MPD. So I think I'm going for fields, trees, animals, that kind of thing instead, rather than trying to cram in roads that don't go to anywhere because the track stops them. I can't have a road level crossings, that would be completely wrong. So yeah, so I'm thinking I would just stick to keep it more rural looking, which, as we all know, our beautiful NYMR line is very scenic, very picturesque. So I'm going to try and hopefully create a little bit of that instead. So and I'll show you that in a little bit, what I've been up to. Well, I said what I've been up to, it's just mainly tidying up and clearing while I've had an afternoon to do it. So so yeah, I wanted to get straight in my mind a little bit, ready for when I have my return trip to Grimy, to pick my Locos up in case I was going to buy them, but I'm thinking no. So whether that's going to be right, I could always change and work them in if I need to, but I think I've sat and drawn as well, to do now and again. I drew out what I've got so far, what I'm thinking for here, and I think it made it a little bit more clear up here when I actually saw it on paper, and I thought it could just look a bit crass, so that's what I've decided. So yeah, enough babbling from me. We'll now show you a little bit of what I'm thinking on the layout, and we'll go from there. So, oh, also actually, some more thoughts for you guys. Obviously you all know I had that issue in my controller box, and I appreciate a few of you have been saying, you know, you might have a spare one, or you know, one you're not using anymore, and thank you for that. But I have actually got it running again, obviously, as you saw the other day. But I'm looking at this new Hornby one that everyone's talking about, where, you know, control it off your smartphone and run DCC when you want to, even though all my track's obviously DC, as a lot of you have asked. My Locos, I have got some that are DCC ready, but some older stock, DC only. So I'm very keen to not fully switch to DCC, because I would have a lot of stuff I won't be able to run anymore. But yeah, it's caught my eye and my thoughts on, I don't know, and then that way I could have the best of both worlds, but then I'm thinking, how reliable is it going to be? I don't know, and do I, don't I? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if you guys have looked at it. What are you thinking about it? Do you think it's something of interest, or do you think, nah, not bother, one or the other? I don't know. So yeah, that's today's thought for you all, and I'll ponder. What do you reckon to that? So anyway, like I say, enough babbling, we'll cut to the layout. See, technology, it doesn't even want to. So yes, while I'm here in the gap, so you can see that's the, you know, that hasn't really changed much what I started to do, ready to mask the tunnel, but I kind of stopped on that because I might want to pull the tunnel out just to do the area behind it. Might be easier than having that done first. That was a bit of a bad idea. But I don't know if you remember from the last video, you saw all of this was just congested with everything. So it's now all been nicely tidied up, except for this cardboard box. Oh, there's my my sweet snake supply, which keeps you going when you're in here a few hours. So you see, there's the back of Goflin. You can see it clearer now. There's the back. Before it was just hidden by rubbish, really. So what I'm thinking with this is, I'm going to use it, because what I did, if I show you down here, which I've done right back at the start, like these raised areas here where I've got the cows, and further over there where the sheep are, slightly raised areas, and perhaps the rocks on Diddle Squat, although it's only slight. I did that sort of paper mache, the old style kind of way, so a few layers and just built it up. So what I'm thinking is, because that's the sort of height I'm thinking I want to go for up and over here, so I'm thinking get that box down into place, which is roughly there, I think, perhaps. And then I'm going to build on it, like kind of paper mache over and create texture and height like I did down there. And then that will give me, to save mashing layer after layer after layer, that will kind of give me the desired effect I'm after. And then I'll obviously work at sloping, creating a downward each side, and perhaps rocky area, grass, trees, fence, and more animals. So that's what I'm thinking for here. You see, this is where I was considering the Gofland Hotel, but it's a low relief building, so ideally it's got to be against something, and then to be right it would need to be that way on, and I just thought, no, it's going to look rubbish. So, and then I thought, forget that, do I just put the petrol station in there? And then I thought, where's the road, Jen? You know, how are people going to actually drive a car to get to a petrol station that's surrounded by track? So I just thought that'd look ridiculous as well. So I'm thinking, yeah, just go for picturesque landscape scenery and forget that part. So yeah, that's the plan there. You can see I've still got a bit of a junk corner there. And these little beauties I did pick up when I was out and about at that shop in Stafford last week. I thought they'd be nice for Levisham, the height of them, and I don't know if to see if I can get some more off the internet or somewhere. But I have discovered as well, before I get too carried away, I think I need another bottle of this. So I thought I had one, and it turns out I haven't, and that is perhaps my favourite out of all the ones I've used. So yeah, so glue could stop play. It could be a quick jump on the internet once I've finished in here. So yes, that's the plans for the layout so far. You can see Levisham hasn't really changed much, so I've obviously dumped some of the stuff as I've tidied, like the glue and the grass for now. Oh, and I did pick up some, because I think definitely need more sheep for, obviously, when you're doing something like this. So I did pick up another pack of those. So yeah, that's what's happened this afternoon really. It's been more of a tidy up session, a clearing. Have still got, did discover as well, some of these tracks still needs to be nailed down, which is why they're sat there. So now that I'm happy, because it has been jigged about a little bit, it probably hasn't shown up on a lot of the other videos, but it has been jigged about just to get it kind of how I wanted it. So now that I'm happy, it's going to get nailed down for sure. So yes, that gives you a little insight into, it's surprising, I always think how long, even just tidying up, sorting stuff into little pots and boxes. You might have noticed again, the chocolate box over there, you know, once after Christmas, we've got a few of those knocking about. So it's, you know, just sorting all different stuff into more organised kind of, so it doesn't slow you down as much when you're trying to do something then, as opposed to spending 5 minutes hunting for what you're after. So yeah, it's kind of good to go now here, and I think it was important, as I say, to perhaps get it straight in my mind, get it down on the paper, which I don't always do quite often. As you can see, I'll just go for it, and you know, I kind of make up as I go along really, a bit like the videos. But so yeah, that's done now, ready for what bit of glue I've got left. I think I'm just going to have a go now on this little middle area. So that middle area, once I kind of probably fix the box into place a little bit, what I do, and this is probably all going to make you hopefully smile, my first layer that I would put on there would be this. Now, a good few months ago, the well-known supermarket that I use, now and again they'll just put you free samples in your online shopping carts. You know, they got a new product launch, not often, but now and again they do, and it was a pack of these. And, well, I looked at them, I thought, I know what they'd be good for, paper mache. So they are quite, and you see the ridged on them as well. So so what I would do, once I've got my glue, rip loads of sheets of that off, very absorbent obviously, and that'll put a nice sticky kind of base for the first kind of layer that I kind of put on. Once I've kind of built up a little bit with a mixture of paper and that kind of stuff, I've then got either this nice grey tissue paper, which again off eBay for a pittance. That's if I want, where I want the rocks to be, so that the colour's kind of right for when you kind of want to put your landscaping over it. You've kind of already got the base colour there. And for the grass, of course, I've got the equivalent here, which is a bit green, but once you put your flock over the top, that just hides any white or whatever you've used to mache that. So I'll put a few layers of that over the top, because it just builds, the mache makes it sets really stiff as well. So yeah, it's perfect for then a bit of layering glue, put your grass on. That's what I find. And that kind of shredded kind of stuff, I use that sparingly just to give it a colour variation too, so it's not solid. I don't know if you can see between those. So flat sheets of that, sprinkles kind of sashayed over with that, dries as stiff as whatever, and then put your knot grass over the top, and it gives you, well, you've got the height, you've got the texture, and you got your real looking grass on the top. And if you have missed obviously little tiny bits and pieces, all you can see is a bit of green through, so it really doesn't show, or your silver rocks. So that's how I do it. I know there's probably better ways or other ways, but I just like making a mess as well for all this. So that's what's going to happen now in this middle area. So obviously there's going to be drying time between layers, so I'm not going to bore you with it, otherwise it'll be about a 10-hour video. My YouTube average watch time will be way up, but probably not, because you turn off after 10 seconds. So yeah, I'm going to work on building the layers up, get it done, and I'll show you perhaps when it reaches a stage that it's worth looking at, really. So I don't think anyone needs to see the wall drying tonight, do they? So thanks for watching, guys.